This is actually an extra special event because I was introduced by the individual that my opponent tried to impeach, like Mark already said. So that actually warms my heart, knowing that Mark came up to introduce me. I want to thank all of the electeds who are in the room. I would probably miss some if I called them out by name, so I won't. And I will just thank all of the rest of you for coming. This is an event that is about 15 months in the making since it's our last fundraising event, large fundraising event before the election. And many of you have heard my story, but for those of you who haven't, I was born and raised in Appalachia. My father was a railroad diesel mechanic. Yes, Joy, you love that. When I was very young, my father literally broke his back working on the railroad. And he spent about 2 years in a body cast because medicine wasn't what it is today. And when you went through back surgery back in the 1970s, that back surgery really took a toll on you. And had it not been for the kindness of others, we as a family would not have made it. And that is a big reason why I chose to dedicate my adult life to public service. Mark mentioned my military background. When I graduated from high school, I joined the military, and before you know it, I served a career there. And I also served 8 years as a senior manager in the Department of Defense before leaving to run for this office. And in no small part because of my wife, Joyce, who gave me the extra encouragement necessary to make sure that this was the right thing to do. But also, it's a very personal journey because our oldest, John, is a member of the LGBT community. And until last year, he was unable to marry the person he loved. And he was unable to visit that person in the hospital if something, God forbid, would go wrong. And now he can do that, but that fight is not over yet. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running. Because it's important that we have equal rights for all and not just for some. And Alfonso stole my thunder with the special needs comment. We have a daughter who has special needs. She's our middle child, and Delegate Marshall said that she is God's punishment for abortion. When he said that about my daughter, as well as about every other special needs person in the Commonwealth. And that's not acceptable. And she's one of the reasons that I'm running. And we could go on and on, like has been mentioned, about the social issues, but I want to turn just a little bit to Delegate Marshall's attendance record. His abysmal attendance record, and the fact that he does not represent those of us who live in the 13th. Over the past 4 years, he has missed 723 votes. Just let that sink in for a second. 723 votes in 4 years. In addition to that, he missed 52%, skipped 52% of his committee meetings just in 2015. He is not representing those of us when he does take a position, and when he doesn't take a position, he doesn't represent us because he's not there. And we deserve to have the same representation in the 13th that the folks who live here in Arlington have, that the folks who live down in Roanoke have, down in Richmond, down in Virginia Beach, and everywhere else in the Commonwealth, where their delegates and their senators care enough to actually show up to work and to represent them. And that's why I'm running, because we deserve better. We're 17 days and a wake up away from the election, and it's going to be a sprint for the next 17 days. I always ask when I speak before an audience, if there's one thing that you can do for me, it's to take election day off and help. Because we're going to need folks to bring voters to the polls, to identify those voters, make sure that they actually get the opportunity to vote and to have their voices heard. So with that, thank you for coming out, and thank everybody for being here.
Yeah!